I have every stitch of clothing I've ever owned in my closet. Clap if that's you. Yes? Yeah, every single one. Because I'm like, I'm going to get back into my 10s, 12s, 14s. I'm going to get back into them. So I wondered the other day if when I wasn't in my closet, like masturbating or crying. Are we good? I don't know. I don't know where I'm at right now. So I wondered when I shut the door if like it was weird. It was like Toy Story, you know, and all my clothes come to life and talk to each other. So I was wondering, can you imagine, you know, like all my little tees are telling my extra large hoodies, like, live it up while she eats her feelings. We used to be her favorite too.
We are Moms Unhinged, a nationally touring stand-up comedy show. Join us in our podcast as we explore everything from motherhood, midlife crisis, marriage, divorce, online dating, menopause, and other things that irritate us.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moms Unhinged. I know. I just I think it's sometimes just I like to embody the brand. You know,
But we all are that. Yeah.
I know, right? I know, right? You guys, I'm super excited to be talking to today Magen King, who's amazing. She is one of our Dallas-based comedians. She books comedy at the Dallas Comedy Club. She performs all over, and we met at the World Series of Comedy many years ago. Yeah, I remember how long it was. And now you're performing with Moms Unhinged all over the place.
I know.
Yeah, I know. So welcome, Magen.
Hi, thank you. I love it. I love being here. I love Moms Unhinged. It's been a blessing in my life. So I'm so happy to be on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so great. So great. So, yeah, we're just having such a fun discussion. Oh my God, we gotta hit record. What are we doing? So tell us a little bit about how you got into comedy. And that's so amazing. You got into comedy and now you're working at a comedy club. It's just like all baked in there. So
So I acted when I was little, younger, like high school, baby, the baby age. And I was always in the comedies. I always got cast in those. And then I started doing different plays and I got a theater scholarship. I got pregnant, blah, blah, blah. I stayed at home with my kids for a while. And then I decided I was going to get back into acting. And I'd always loved stand-up comedy. Like I listened to Bill Cosby nonstop, Richard Pryor, Cheech and Chong. Like I had all of my dad's album. And then I did this audition. My kids were all really little. And it was 2007-ish maybe. And it was with Kevin Hart. And it was for a movie. It was supposed to be a spoof on Training Day. And the writer and the director was the same guy. And so I go to this thing. The script has, your dialogue. And in my dialogue, it said LOL. And so I was like, oh, she's an airhead. Okay. So every time I was reading, I was like, LOL. Like I just kept doing it. And they were laughing their ass off. I was like, I'm killing that. So the director stops and goes, you're just supposed to laugh. And I was like, mm. And I was the white person in a room. Not that that's like weird for me because I grew up with diversity, but still like to be embarrassed in front of, and you're the only white chick. You're like, oh, God, wait. And so I just started roasting myself and seeing the situation and like, hey, I know I'm fat right now. I just had 3 babies. I will do like I was just saying crazy shit. And they were all dying. And then Kevin stopped me. Kevin Hart, he goes, you do stand up? And I go, no. And he goes, yeah, did you stand up? And I was like, shut up. Like, thank you.
Wait, Kevin Hart? When Kevin Hart tells you to do stand up, you go do it.
Yes. And I did like a decade later. I had babies and and then I ended up getting divorced. Like, that was something I was talking about in the damn audition. Anyway, I was like, I mean, he's affected nothing, who knows? Richard saying, unfit. And then, yeah, I'm so sorry I'm throwing up because I'm so sorry. But then, yeah, I had to wait because I had like little babies at home and I didn't understand how you would do stand up with babies at home. And then when I see moms doing it now, I'm like, oh, God bless you. I had no clue how to do that. I waited till they were kind of take care of themselves.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, that's kind of how I felt too. It is harder. And, harder for women to do it. I don't know what, I don't know, not to get into that, but life. Yes. Right. Could I just have 1 to 2 wives? It's what I need.
I am Mormon now, and putting it up. I'm a Mormon lesbian. Yeah, exactly. I don't. That's a thing, right? I watch Sister Wives. I have some really bad. I like things that I like to. It's not good. I should not be watching Sister. Like that is, you know, that is a shit show, and I watch it, and I'm like, ooh. And then it comes up on my Facebook. It's so bad. You when's your phone nerd? You might about you anyway.
So, well, it is. I mean, and you were going through so much. If you're going through a divorce, trying to make that all work, it's definitely like adding some creative outlet is not your first thought when you're going through all of that.
But I will say it was. It's been a learning experience, and anyway, so I jumped in a decade later when they were older, and moments when my first show I actually got to do. I took a class and then I did it. Like most people, when you hit in your 30s and 40s age, I teached out. So I see so many of it. But my first show was like amazing, and it was so much better. I had taken improv before because I'm an actor. It's like, oh no, that feels like more my speed. I guess I'm not a team player.
I'm not a team player. I'm not a team player. And you guys can all just die on the vine out there.
I don't get what you're doing. I'm not. But I'm much better for myself. It's ridiculous. Because I'm always like, no, I love people. And I really don't.
You don't love people. I just love me.
You're not gonna sitting here pretending like you're not pretending when I'm pretending. That's not usually how I say. Anyway, I'm probably freaking hard. Like when it's like,
I know. I did improv for 8 years, and it's definitely a skill set. And I did that before stand up, and I always thought, oh my God, stand up comedy, that's too hard because you're by yourself. And then I was like, oh yeah, I like it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You die or you succeed alone, and so I guess that's just how I'm wired. I don't know. That's not good though. That says a lot about my personality. Another good trait. Anyway. So yeah, that was story.
So, and now you've been opening for like some really
Tim
Meadows and doing, shows all over. And how did you then you started working for the Comedy Club too. So
yeah, Dallas Comedy Club, I highly recommend. We have like 10 comedy clubs in Dallas. It's a little bit crazy, but I started just going to different shows there. And then they were like, hey, they were talking about how they were going to start a stand-up curriculum, and they're like, they needed a teacher. And so I was a teacher and made the curriculum for them and all this. I really have a passion for this. Like, I love stand-up. And then I got offered the booking gig when the booker at the time decided to quit. They waited about a month or two and was like, hey, Megan, you were always already at these other clubs, because I was traveling already at that point. And I could see how other clubs do it. I also had connections with other headliners, and we could have maybe brought them into the fold. So I think that's why I got the gig. And I really do like that, because it's like the business side is so different than the performing.
Yeah. I want to get into that a little bit, because it's so curious, because I kind of came at this comedy thing from a whole different angle, just like, whenever. So I never did like a lot of clubs. All of a sudden I just started producing shows. So like, what is it like from the other side of things? Like,
Why? It is hard as a club person because I don't get to, I don't know. I'm like, should I put this out in the world? But it's true. Unfortunately, right now, we cannot book based on the talent, because clubs are not destinations anymore. There's hell clubs, Comedy Cellar, Comedy School, like Danny's. They'll just have people show up. It doesn't matter who's on stage. That is not the case for almost every comedy club else in America. Right. Really. Right. Unless you're like at your A club in a small city. That is the club that everyone's going to then.
Yeah, they just go out.
Exactly. But because of that, then we have to only book people who will sell tickets. And the difference between someone who will sell tickets and the most talented comic is not always like the same person. It hurts my heart as a comic to see that. It took me, I was clunky for a minute of like doing the stuff. There are exceptions to the rule. We got Gerard Carmichael. I don't know if you're familiar with him. I left him. He wasn't on any social media. He's had his own TV show. He's won Emmys. Like he's done all this stuff, but he didn't have any social media. So he just now got on Instagram. I'm sure he's like huge following now. But the first time we booked him, we were like, how is he going to sell tickets? How are we going to, we just have to push it. And he sold out in 2 days. But that's a very rare exception of someone he's already famous, basically. It's like,
yeah, he was, yeah, he had notoriety. People knew who he was, but he just didn't have the following. But like, that is interesting because it is so different now for comedians. They have to have their own following. They need their own following. They have to be putting all the content out there, and yeah, just very different.
yeah, I mean, I've got a guy I love working with. He's very amazing, Garrett Cahill. He is huge on Instagram. He's huge on Facebook and TikTok. And we gave him a one-nighter. He sold it out. We had to give him a second show and sold that one out. And now he's touring and headlining all over. Now he's an exception to a lot of the TikTokers because he was a stand-up prior to doing TikToks but if you are wanting to jump into comedy, what I'm teaching right now and what I would recommend is get on to, I'm not doing it, by the way. Do what I say. And we should on TikTok and just start talking at the camera, start sharing your life or sharing your thoughts. You will find your audience. There are so many people who don't want to do that, but they do want to consume it. Because I don't understand that mentality. I'm always like, who's going to want to watch me? They probably have their own. But it's like, no, they can't. Like, there are a lot of people who don't want to record themselves, but they definitely want to interview other people who are willing to do it. Yeah. And aren't, we're crazy.
I know it is funny. There are a lot of lurkers, and I'm always like, because I'm not doing that as much. I'm just kind of like, hey, I think there's people, yeah. And I think there's also people who, this was by analogy, there's bakers and then there's consumers. There's people who are creating things and then people who just like, eating all the things.
Yeah. Well, I'm both. I'm impartiality TV apparently. But no, I found it really interesting. When I've seen so many now as a booker of like, oh, there's one girl, I watched her do her first 10 minutes and then 30 days later, she was headlining a club because she had 1 million followers or that gave her no hand. And she did it. Was it something that she did it. And the people who came to see her loved her. That's the other fact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
that's the thing too, is that they know, I think they're probably willing to forget a lot because
they're not watching it like her LPMs are pretty low, and she's, they're not doing that. They just love her and whatever she said they were on board for. And we have got to find our people like that. That's what you have to do, which is inspirational. Come on, guys. Let's all get on let's get on the TikToks. Yep.
I keep hoping they'll cancel it. It's all over on the laws.
I'm like, yep, you with that.
Yeah. So you have you have kids to have 3 kids.
Yes,
that's right. It's
okay. There's a lot of ahead of not yet.
I know. So 3 kids. So when did you get into comedy? What age were your kid at that range?
Okay, so 2016. I have to do math. My kid was born. So she was 16. My oldest was 16, and then the others were like 11 and 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were a little more self-sufficient.
Yes, and she was a decent baby.
I know. As good as you can expect.
At 16, and she was a boy at the time, so it was like you don't let your boys babysit early. But I also was divorced, so there was like weekends where I didn't have the kids, and so that is always helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah,
that weekend. Yeah.
Right. That does. Yeah. The joint custody is something. Now, you just alluded to what we were also going to talk about a little bit was your oldest is trans.
Yes. Yes. He came out as an adult and 3 years ago, I think at this point, maybe longer. I was clueless. And I always was very like, I'm a hippy dippy mom, and I was like, it's okay if you fess gay, like it's okay to be gay. I would tell them growing up. And my youngest one had said some things a couple times where I was like, oh, and then he's like, I'm not sure. I'm like, okay, all right. But I was always very like, supportive of it, and none of them were doing anything. This is a little bit of my but then I had two of them tell me they were bisexual. And I was like, okay. Because it didn't feel real because none of them had dated somebody of the same sex.
Okay.
I was like, okay, yeah. Oh, you mean like, no. You just say I felt like that age is just saying it. Like we can't be straight.
Yeah. Right. That's so boring. That's so, yeah.
But right, you know what I mean? That generation, it's like boring. So two of them were saying it. They weren't doing anything about it. But then she came out of the fence, and I was like, okay, wow, just so far, like
Right. Well, yeah. So,
I'm now dead.
So what was that like for you when she made the announcement to you? Like
The truth is I started crying immediately because I couldn't, sometimes I can't contain my emotions. And I was just in shock, and I was heartbroken to know that, oh, you have been dealing with something so big and so heavy your whole life. And I was completely unaware. And I felt like a bad mom, like, how did I not see this or see you for you? But I was trying to maintain myself. And there is a funny part of it. We were in public and we were sitting at a restaurant, and the waiter, she was autistic. So I swear to God, she came over like every minute, and I'm, you can see I'm crying.
give me a moment.
You just sat down. And I was like, we need a minute or two. I swear 30 seconds. And I was like, so after the third or fourth time, I just stop and I go, everybody just order. We're having a live conversation, lady. But yes, let's make sure we are IT to the table. Okay? Word to God.
It's a really important, deep thing. And I've got to have my iced tea.
Yes, please. And I like a fucking soup or whatever. Like, you could tell, I was so irritated. So it was like, this is so very much this generation. Go out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is interesting, though, that you felt like a bad mom because of, that struggle. And
Not dang it. Like,
yeah.
Because she didn't say I wanted to be wearing makeup or she wasn't anything like that. And now she's not a girly girl. She's, pretty much a tomboy to a degree, but very comfortable, very herself. All of her friends are very supportive. Thank goodness. She's her defense master, and that little clan has been playing Dungeons and Dragons together since like middle school. And it's all the same people, and it's a different name instead of Seth. It's Ava, and that's who, and I love that. I'm happy for her for that. We live in Texas, so it's a whole nother level now of like worry that I now get to carry. Yes, that she definitely has too, because it's just not. We live in Denton, which I don't know if anyone's familiar with the Dallas area, but it's where 3 different colleges are. So it is pretty liberalish up here, or it's like very open up here, basically. Lots of rainbows in certain areas, lots of, different soul hair people. We're all just very accepting up here, which is, I love it. My feet, right? But when we venture out of Denton, it's different.
Yeah, that's hard. And that's hard as a mom too, knowing that, your kid is going to face some of that, and that's not work for them as far as how the world reacts to you.
Right. I mean, she's still my kid. Like, she's still obviously the same person. And it hurts me to have the world see her so different. And then I shouldn't say the world. Selected group of
some people in the world. Yes. Okay. Right. Well, that's
not as funny as
No, but I mean, that's the thing is like, it's just, and I know you touch on that in your comedy, and it is, I do feel like, obviously comedy, tragedy, things, we come up with funny ways to look at things that are sometimes ridiculous and come from these real challenges in our lives. So I think that type of comedy is more interesting anyway than just like
Me
this little Starbucks lattes,
My boobs are super saggy. Yes, they are.
So you have 3 kids. So are they all out of the house now, or no? One is still in the house.
Yeah. So I've had quite the, oh my gosh, I don't know who was turning me up, but I've had quite the adventure in this category because I've been divorced from, so I've been married a couple times. The first husband is her dad, is the 25-year-old dad. And then the second husband is the other two dad. And we got divorced in 2010. We had a pretty decent relationship in like co-parenting a little bit. But in 2021, he started, and they all lived with me and then would visit him. He started, my ex-husband, thinking that he had ALS. He was having an anxiety, like literally mental breakdown. And he kind of felt like he needed, because he lived alone and I was single. I've been single for forever. And so he kind of pushed his way into my house because he just needed to be around me. He needed to be around the kids. He needed to be around the dogs. Like he wanted to be around community, other people. And I am a very kind, like, I'm a very like, of course, I'm the mom thing. I'll take care of you out. It's okay. We got you through this. We'll get you through this. I was kind of worried about him at first. Started going to experts and they were all telling him, no, this is anxiety. This is anxiety. This is anxiety. It was all in his head. And at the time, he was only like manifesting, I want to say, which is true, but like little weird twitches, but nothing major. So for 6 months, he lived with me thinking he was dying. We would go on walks and we would discuss his end of life desires and wishes. Girl, I could make this a sitcom. I wanted, don't you know this? My soul. This is super real. It was so crazy. It was so crazy. My best friends at the time had to hear all the time. I was like, oh my God. No. And I'm just like trying to like, you're not crazy. Like I'm kind of, hey, maybe, and like gently lead him, but he wasn't listening. My 2 kids that are his kids, one of them was like, this is like you guys have gotten a divorce. The fact that he's living with us feels like a divorce, which is such a weird thing because it was just such a difference than, oh, now my parents are living in the same house. Now he was in his own room. I was in my own room, but still, it was too crazy. And then the other one was like, oh my gosh, are you guys going to get back together? Because you got to work when I was 2. So anyway, all this to say, I lived with this dude for like 3 years because once we both were renting, once he figured out he was fine, he started dating while he was living with me, which I was like, how are you telling people that you live with your ex-wife and you go to date? And he was like, if they're cool with it, it's fine. And I was like, boo-boo, if they're cool with it, it's a red flag.
There's so many red flags going on right now.
I'm like, I could not date anybody going, well, yeah, he thought he was dying. He's fine. But I can't do that. So we lived together. We both, doing comedy, being as busy I get, we really didn't interact with shit. And he took over my kitchen. He took over my living room. I stayed in my master bedroom. Just like, it's fine.
You had a squatter in your house.
And he was your to pay rent eventually. But I had to like really go off about it. The man makes ridiculous money, especially in comparison to me. But I was like, anyway. So at this time, Ava, my oldest one, had moved out because when she turned about, well, I don't know, whatever it was, she decided to live with her friends. She wanted to film this and just go somewhere. That's fine. So it's just me, 2 kids, my ex. We lived together about 4 years, and then I'm like, okay, I've got to move out. God bless. He had taken over and like we gotten a house. We moved one time together. No, perfect out. That was the perfect time to get out. Right? But like having someone help pay the bills after that long, I was like, that is neat.
That is yes. I do have to say.
Like I wasn't before. I'm not now. So we moved in together one time, and I was like, you have a ridiculous amount of like income. You get the house, I'll rent out room from you, and with the switch, and then I'll save more money. I could only do that for like a year. Not having like a nice little like my own bathroom, my own ever. I was like, I'm too old for this. I can't. So I moved out. But because he rented a very big house and a very nice neighborhood, and I was going into an okay house. This is a they didn't want to come with me. So I said, Dad. So as I'm moving out, she moves back in, and the other two stayed. It's the weirdest situation. I don't think they ever would have moved out if I would have stayed in the house I got to what I was renting, and the owner wanted to sell it. Anyway, long story. So yeah, they kind of moved out. They're still living at home, but just not my home. And I think they would be if I never let crazy. I love him. He's such a nice guy. I love him. Yeah, and let him move in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I thought, definitely my ex-husband and I are amicable, but that takes a cake. That's another level. That's another level of amicable.
It is really weird. And his girlfriend right now, because I never have him outside, but his girlfriend right now seems to be fine because there really isn't a lot of interacting. But his dad now has had a mental thing. And so his dad started messaging me, and I was like, do you want me to go see your dad? Like, it is weird. We are really close.
Yeah.
But just we would not be good like partners.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that is wild. And so here's the funny thing is that normally I ask everyone on the podcast for an unhinged story, but I feel like it's sort of been one.
I mean, with my own kid, maybe I know I've yelled at them like inappropriate times, probably. I know because I was a single mom since they were pretty little. Yeah, I'm 10. They were young, and so we drove everywhere because I could not afford all to get on an airplane. So on any road trip, there was one time I'll remember I was driving from Texas to Colorado, because my family was getting together in Colorado. And my youngest one had figured out that because there's nothing between Texas and Colorado, just New Mexico and nothing. Yeah. And he had to pee all the time, and he was 4. So he had to figure it out. He tells me he has to pee. We pull over. He gets to pee out in the world. He gets to pee on the side of the road. This is amazing. And so literally every 20 minutes he was trying, and they go, and I went off. I was like, ate it. I just like went off on him. I was like, you hold that. You're going to hold, you know what? You can pee on yourself. You're not peeing in your back. I know you have to pee. You're lying to me. I did it for 3 times now. Anyway, I remember, and it was so ridiculous to get but
I know for having a pee. It's so, that's hilarious. That's so.
Well, it's a 19-hour drive, bitches. If we stop every 20 minutes, I swear it's going to be a 40-hour drive. And I'm going to.
I know. Yeah, I know. And it's so hard because, they're 4 and it's like, you can't, you sort of can reason with it, but it's not, they're not,
He might have been, he was in and out pretty okay. He might have been 5 or 6. I don't remember, but he was too little enough, but also too much of a little punk. He's always been real smart. That one's, I have a lot of stories about him that I get to do on stage because as well. I love that one. But that moment,
that's so true. That is, I mean, that is the joy about being a comedian with your, to get to tell all these stories on stage about them.
I felt we can all relate to. So I have a question for you. How often are you dealing with moms, or do you feel this way where you're like, I want to do that on stage, but I probably should clear it. Maybe I shouldn't do that story on stage. Like, are you guys better people than I am? Because I started doing it, I guess, at an age where I didn't feel like they had the mental capacity to tell me whether or not I can talk about it.
Yeah. That's so funny. I know. And actually that's come up a lot of times with, as I'm talking about that, some moms are clearing it with their kids.
Yeah.
And some aren't. And I do remember I didn't let them watch my comedy until they were like 18, because I was worried that they were going to be like, oh, mommy doesn't love us, I'm like, no, you don't get it. It's yes and time, what? Stuff like that. Oh. But so they were younger, so I didn't really clear anything with them.
Man.
And now they've seen my comedy, and I really don't say anything that bad about them. And it's all true. It all happens. You know what I mean? And it happened. So, like the one thing I was worried about when I was telling is my little story about how I envy the sea turtles. They get to put their kids on the beach, head back out to sea. Like they would think that I would really want to abandon them or something like that. Like that, like I would really do that. No, I would fight a bear for them. But there are times I fantasize about.
So I'm working on a new bit that I remembered because I went this on my notes and I'm kind of like pressing up stuff because you get bored with your set. And I'm working on a bit about how my ex forgot to pick up my youngest of the football one time. And I was like, hey, we can lose one, but I would like to have a meeting before we decide I like this. Let's not lose it.
Which one? Yeah, let's be selective with unilateral decision you made, and I'm
Still fly. We're still treatment. Yeah. So yeah, there's been moments, of course, where I'm like, get rid of the middle one. Anytime she is rude. No, I love her. She's also now because I don't know how to say this, but she is my girl that from birth. And so she is the one that is taking over on Christmas and going, did you guys say something small? Did you guys do this? She is she's embracing that female side that we.
Yeah, that role. I know. I have two boys, and I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't know. God, I know my mom in the told me when she was in the assisted living about how people would say, oh, you've got girls, good, you're taken care of, and I'm like, I didn't know. I would have tried third. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, girl.
Well,
yeah, ahead.
Yeah. I will say so. My sister has all girls and one boy, and that's not what I had. And now I have the same thing as you, but that's not what and I always thought I always wanted boys. I like girls. Yeah, just oh my god, the teenage age and blah blah blah. But now that we have gone over that, it's this. I love her. Yeah. So
You're gonna reap the benefits. So, well, this has been so much fun, Nate. It just flew by. Time has flown by. Why don't you let people know where they can find you online?
okay, so my name is down there and it's spelled weird. So if you Google that, it'll come up on my website, but also that's my Magen King on Facebook, but it's Magen King on Instagram and TikTok. And I'm not on TikTok, but I'm doing it this week. I've said it now out in the world. I'm doing it. I'm putting stuff on TikTok.
Awesome.
Excited.
Awesome. Yeah. And we will have these links in the show notes for everybody so you can find Magen. But this has been so much fun, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Really, it has been life-changing for me, and I love this idea, and I love that it's going off, and I can't wait to spread more joy to everybody. Yay!
Yes, that's awesome. All right.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and make sure you subscribe, share, and follow us on the socials to get more comedy clips.